10 Most Insane Golden Age Hollywood Fistfights. Hollywood's golden age gave us timeless films, legendary stars, and images of glamour that defined American culture. But behind those perfect smiles and carefully crafted public images lurked something far more primal. Explosive tempers, massive egos, and fists that flew when the camera stopped rolling. The studios didn't just manufacture stars. They contained them, revealed a former MGM, security guard who worked during the 1950s. These weren't just polite creative disagreements. We're talking furniture smashing, blood-drawing brawls that publicity departments worked overtime to keep out of the papers. While today's celebrities might settle disputes through carefully worded social media statements or legal teams, Golden Age stars often resolved conflicts the old-fashioned way with bare knuckles and raw fury. Far from the public's adoring gaze, these weren't stage fights for publicity, but genuine eruptions of rage between Hollywood's biggest names. We had to physically separate major stars who were trying to kill each other, then pretend everything was fine the next day, confessed a veteran set manager from Paramount. Some of the industry's most legendary partnerships were forged in literal blood. Stars who became friends only after they tried to knock each other unconscious. Tonight, we reveal the 10 most shocking fistfights of Hollywood's golden age. Violent confrontations between iconic stars that studio publicity departments successfully buried for decades. From beloved Cuners throwing haymakers to screen goddesses engaging in physical combat, these explosive moments reveal the raw, unfiltered reality behind Hollywood's most carefully polished legends. 1. Frank Sinatra versus Mario Lanza. When the chairman threw hands, Frank Sinatra transformed himself from a skinny kid from Hoboken into the chairman of the board. A transformation that included developing a notoriously short fuse and willingness to back his words with his fists. Mario Lanza, the operatic tenor with movie star looks, represented everything Sinatra had worked to become. A classically trained vocalist with natural gifts, Sinatra had spent years developing through discipline and practice. Location: Beverly Hills Party, noted a former member of Sinatra's entourage who witnessed the confrontation. These were two of the biggest singing stars in the world at an A-list industry gathering where everyone was watching. Though what they ended up seeing wasn't exactly dinner entertainment. The incident reportedly began when a slightly intoxicated Lanza made comments about Sinatra's vocal technique and diminutive stature. Sensitive subjects for the famously insecure Sinatra, who had worked tirelessly to overcome his physical limitations, both as a singer and as a man standing just 5'7" in an era that demanded leading men be tall and imposing. Sinatra reportedly sucker-punched Lanza after Lanza mocked his height and voice, explained a musician who performed with both men during that era. What was supposed to be a friendly industry party turned into a scene from one of Sinatra's Vegas stories. A full-on brawl that shattered furniture and sent Hollywood royalty diving for cover. Witnesses described Sinatra's unexpected first blow, catching Lanza completely off guard, followed by a chaotic struggle as the physically larger Lanza attempted to defend himself. Security eventually separated the two stars, but not before significant damage had been done both to the venue and to Hollywood decorum. The chairman of the board threw a right hook like he was on the docks in Hoboken, recalled an actress who attended the party. Everyone knew about Sinatra's temper, but seeing it unleashed at a high society gathering, watching him physically attack another major star without hesitation was shocking, even to those of us who thought we'd seen everything in this town. The aftermath of the fight reportedly included extensive damage control by both stars' management teams, significant financial compensation to the party's host for damaged property, and a mutual understanding that neither man would publicly acknowledge what had occurred. This pact of silence was so effective that the incident remained largely unknown outside immediate Hollywood circles for decades. What made this fight particularly significant was how it revealed the two sides of Sinatra, observed a Hollywood historian. There was the sophisticated tuxedo-clad performer who defined mid-century elegance, and there was the street fighter from New Jersey who never forgot the slights and insecurities of his youth. Both were equally authentic aspects of a complex, volatile man who became an American icon. The next Hollywood brawl shows that even the most iconic cowboy had a real-life quick trigger when it came to his reputation. Captain, the Reverend Samuel Johnson Clayton. Mighty impressive. Wow. 2. John Wayne versus Ward Bond when the Duke defended his honor. John Wayne and Ward Bond appeared in dozens of films together, creating one of Hollywood's most enduring on-screen partnerships. Their real friendship lasted decades and weathered professional jealousy, political disagreements, and even physical violence. According to Hollywood insiders, their legendary bond was forged partly through an explosive, physical confrontation that could have ended their relationship before it truly began. Set of a Western, confirmed a veteran prop master who witnessed the incident early in both actors' careers. They were both still establishing themselves, with Wayne particularly sensitive about transitioning from being a prop man and stuntman to a legitimate leading actor. Bond had been in the business slightly longer and wasn't shy about sharing his opinions. The confrontation reportedly erupted during rehearsals when Bond, known for his blunt, sometimes tactless communication style, made disparaging comments about Wayne's acting abilities. For Wayne, who had struggled to be taken seriously as an actor, rather than just a physically imposing presence, this criticism struck at his deepest professional insecurity. Bond insulted Wayne's acting. One allegedly cold-cocked him mid-rehearsal, said a camera operator who claimed to have witnessed the altercation. This wasn't a shoving match or theatrical display. Wayne threw a legitimate punch intended to do damage, catching Bond completely by surprise and dropping him to the ground. What followed was described as a chaotic melee as crew members rushed to separate the two men who continued attempting to reach each other despite multiple people restraining them. The situation was so volatile that extreme measures were required to prevent further violence. They later became friends, but crew had to pull them apart with rifles, noted a production assistant who worked on the film. Not pointing them at the actors, of course, but physically using the props as barriers. These were two physically powerful men in their prime, both with substantial tempers and pride. No one could simply step between them and expect to remain standing. The incident reportedly created significant tension on set for days afterward, with the production having to carefully schedule scenes to keep the actors separated until tempers cooled. Eventually, however, a mutual respect developed, Bond admiring Wayne's willingness to stand up for himself. Wayne recognizing Bond's straightforward honesty as a sign of genuine character. The Duke didn't settle things with words. He settled them with fists, explained a longtime friend of both actors. What's remarkable isn't that they fought. Plenty of actors came to blows in that era. What's extraordinary is how that fight ultimately formed the foundation for a friendship that lasted until Bond's death. They both appreciated that the other was willing to back words with actions. This physical confrontation reportedly established a pattern that would define their relationship for decades. Brutal honesty, occasional explosive disagreements, but underlying respect and loyalty that transcended Hollywood's typical superficial alliances. The two would go on to work together in over 20 films, creating one of cinema's most enduring partnerships. In some ways, their fistfight was the most honest interaction possible between two men of that generation, observed the film historian. It stripped away pretense and established clear boundaries. After that, they always knew exactly where they stood with each other, a rarity in an industry built on artifice and calculated relationships. While male stars frequently came to blows, the next Hollywood fight demonstrates that screen goddesses could be equally physical when pushed to their limits. Music. 3. Bet. Davis versus Joan Crawford. Hollywood's most vicious feud gets physical. The legendary feud between B. Davis and Joan Crawford has become Hollywood lore. A decade-or-so-long rivalry between two of the industry's most powerful actresses that played out in passive-aggressive comments, career sabotage, and romantic competition. What fewer people realize is that this animosity reportedly turned physically violent during the filming of their only collaboration, the 1962 psychological thriller, Whatever happened to Baby Jane? Said of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane confirmed a wardrobe assistant who worked on the production. By the time they made this film, these women had hated each other for 30 years. The studio thought pairing them would create magical tension on screen. What it actually created was a war zone where crew members felt like they needed combat pay. The physical altercations between the two screen legends reportedly occurred during filming of the movie's more violent scenes where the line between acting and genuine aggression became dangerously blurred. During one particularly intense sequence, the animosity allegedly crossed from psychological warfare to actual physical assault. Davy,